and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing good today. So in today's video, I am going to recommend you guys some really amazing concealers that are under the price of rupees 500. So all of these concealers are really good and they have been my favorite for a really long time. And yeah, these are very affordable concealers. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you are someone who is new to this channel, thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you like the vibe here, you can hit the subscribe button. I post 3 days a week, sometimes an extra video here and there. So yeah, you can hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell. So that way you will stay updated every time I post a new video. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first concealer I'm going to talk about is this Pack Take Cover Concealer. Now this concealer has so many different shades, like they have like 20 different shades of concealer to choose from. They have a good amount of darker shades as well. They have cool tone, concealers. They have warm tone concealers. I really love the shade range of Pack a lot, and I just feel like the consistency of this concealer is amazing as well. The price of this is around the price of 495 rupees, so almost on the 500 price tag range. I just want to say that you can get a darker concealer in this range and you can use it as a bronzer as well. I really love this concealer so much. It is one of my favorite concealers. I have been using this for almost 2 years now and it is my holy grail concealer. Now all the concealers I'm going to talk about, they are something that I don't set, with powder or anything like that. I just leave my concealer as it is because I have dry skin and I don't really like to set my concealer. So none of this concealer I set, but the formulation of this Pack concealer is so beautiful. It's that creamy blendable kind of a formula. It looks very skin-like. You can see it in the clip as well, how amazing this looks. And I know when sometimes you have dry skin, it's very hard to find a good concealer that is creamy, that is blendable, that looks like skin, that doesn't look patchy, or that doesn't dry out my under eyes. Because as a dry skin girl, I can say that if you are using a matte concealer or something that has that kind of a matte type of a formula, I would say it looks so bad under my eyes, but this one doesn't look bad at all. Honestly, it looks so good. It looks like my under eyes are very healthy, and I really love the coverage as well. This has a medium coverage, and I'm in the shade, I will leave all the shade names down below, like which shade I am. I am the shade Banana or something like that. It's a yellow kind of a concealer. I really love this. I honestly think that it is one of the best concealers in my collection. The next concealer I'm going to talk about is the Miss Clair Fake It Concealer. Now this is actually a newer addition to my concealer pile. So this is the Miss Clair Fake It Concealer and I'm in the shade 03. So this shade is actually the perfect shade for me. I really like this concealer as well. You can see it in the clip as well. It is very creamy. It has the blendable type of a formula. Although it's not like dewy as the Pack one that I just talked about. Yeah, it's not as dewy, but it really is so good. It looks really skin-like. It has a, I would say, light to medium coverage. You can build it up to full coverage as well if you want it. I just feel like it is one of my staple concealers. It has quickly become one of my staple concealers, and although the shade range isn't good, I do have to say that all of the affordable concealers, I don't like the shade range that they provide. Like the Pack concealer, Maybelline concealers, they have amazing shade range, but with this you get a very limited type of a shade range. But I am in the shade 03 and this is a perfectly goes with my skin tone, and it is a little bit on the warm side, and you can see it blends out so well. You can blend this with your fingers, you can blend this with your brush, you can blend this with a beauty blender, and it just melts into the skin so nicely, and I really love it. I haven't tried any of other like Miss Clair concealers. This is my first Miss Clair concealer, like a base product that I tried, and I'm really impressed. You can totally see how this looks on under my eyes, and I really think that it looks very flawless, and it does cover up my dark circles as well. So really one of my favorite concealers, and this was like really inexpensive. I think I got this for 200, 150 rupees. I don't remember. As I said, I'll leave all the prices and everything on the screen so that's easier for you guys to see. So yeah, I got it at a very affordable price tag, and I really love this a lot. It has, as I said, it has been one of my favorite concealers to use these days. So the next concealer that I'm going to talk about is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. Now I don't think so I have to talk about this concealer a lot because a lot of people love this concealer, swears by this, and at this point it is like a universal favorite concealer and everyone have tried this. But anyway, I'm in the shade 03 Honey, 30 Honey, not 03, 30 Honey, and I really love this concealer so much. I have repurchased this concealer time and again. I have been using this concealer straight like 5 years now, and I really love this concealer. This concealer, I would say, is like a kind of going to be like a staple concealer. You know, if you are someone who is into that no makeup type of a look, you just use a BB cream, you just use you just want a medium coverage concealer that looks very natural, this is going to be your pick. Also, I like to use this when I'm doing like a no makeup look, where I am not using any base makeup like foundation, BB cream. I'm not using any of that. I just need this to cover up my dark circles and a little bit of blemishes, and I'm out the door. So this is the perfect concealer to use for that, because it just looks like skin, you know. It doesn't look like you're wearing a concealer. You can tap this with your fingers as well, and it just blends so well into the skin. This, I would say, depending upon the coverage, I would say you can use this as a light coverage to medium coverage. Even if you build this up, I mean, it is not going to give you that full coverage look. I really am happy with this concealer, and I just feel like this is a very staple kind of a concealer in my collection. And whenever my skin is too dry, and especially during the winters, I like to grab this, because the finish of this is perfectly good for dry skin as well. And if you have oily skin, definitely you can set this concealer and it's still going to look as flawless. So the next concealer I'm going to talk about is the Swiss Beauty Liquid Concealer. Now, I have done a kind of a dedicated review on this concealer and showing the Swiss Beauty New HD Concealer. I have done like a comparison video, so I'm not going to go too much into this, but I really have been loving this concealer so much. This concealer retails for only 200 rupees, and this concealer actually comes in like 6 different shades. I have the shade 03 and 01. Now, this concealer, I would say, has that kind of a very flawless vibe to it. It's a concealer I like to wear when I'm wearing a full coverage glam kind of a look. When I'm doing like a full coverage glam kind of a look, I really love to use this concealer, because I feel like it gives me that coverage. It looks flawless, it looks very healthy under my eyes, but it also sets by itself. I mean, this is a self-setting kind of a concealer. I don't know how else to describe it. It looks very dewy and looks very good, but it sets by itself. You don't need to have you don't need to powder it, and it doesn't have that much of creasing. Also, I just feel like this is one of my favorite concealers. I just wish that the shade range was much better, but honestly, I really am loving this concealer so much. I can see why people love this, because for 200 rupees you're getting such a beautiful finish, and I just feel like if you can find your shade range in this concealer, and if you are someone who's wanting a little bit of that fuller coverage look in a concealer, but you still want it to look very glowy and very flawless and very natural, this is going to be your pick, So the next concealer that I'm going to talk about is the Wet n Wild concealer. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus concealer. Now, I am in the shade Medium Tawny, and again, the shade range on this Wet n Wild concealer is also not that great. I would say this has a very medium type of a coverage. This is almost same like the Maybelline Fit Me. I just feel like the Maybelline Fit Me and the Wet n Wild almost looks very similar, but the Wet n Wild looks like very, it's going to be a very good pick for every skin type. I feel like it's a good pick for dry skin, for oily skin, for even if you are setting your concealer, this is just going to look good. And I just feel like I really grab this concealer when I'm in a hurry, and I just love this concealer because this looks very good under my eyes. I know I've repeatedly said that these looks good, but you can see that by yourself in the clip as well, how this looks under my eyes. I just feel like this is such a good concealer, and I don't know, a lot of people did talk about this concealer when it first launched, but now no one talks about it. But I just feel like this is a really good concealer, and you can get this while it's on sale. I would actually urge you guys to get this while it's on sale and you don't have to pay the full price of this concealer. So the next concealer is actually one of my favorite concealers, and I'm really sad about it because this is the Darling Isabella Liquid Concealer. And when I got this last year, it had like 6 different shades. At least it had 6 different shades, but currently this has only 2 shades. I don't know why they discontinued the other shades and kept only 2, because the formulation of this concealer is amazing. I did like a whole dedicated video on this as well. I was so shocked when I got this concealer that this actually is one of my favorite. This actually became one of my favorite concealers, and even still now I love this so much. But the thing is that they only have 2 shades right now. So if you can find, honestly, if you are lucky enough to find your shade in this concealer, grab it, you know, just grab it, because this is one of my favorite concealers. The formulation is just spot on, amazing. This is the concealer that I used to use all the time. Right now I'm not using it that much, because honestly if I run out of it, I'll be like disheartened. I don't have a shade, you know, for me in this concealer anymore. So that is why I don't use this that much anymore. But when I have to look flawless and my under eyes aren't cooperating, you know, my under eyes are very dry and they don't look good with any of the concealers that I just mentioned. None of my concealers work. This is the concealer that would work, you know. So I am just suggesting that if you can find your shade, if they have like 2 shades, so if you can find your shade, just grab this concealer. And this was like, you know how much price it is, like 113 rupees. This is one of the best concealers, honestly. So the last concealer that I'm going to talk about is also a new addition to my concealer collection. This is the Swiss Beauty concealer, and I am in the shade 03. This is a pen concealer, and I have talked about this on my channel a lot, but I really do like this concealer a lot. I use this when I want like a very low coverage, you know, kind of concealer. This also gives me a very matte kind of a finish, so I don't think so I'm going to use this in the winter time a lot. But this is very good for, perfect for, you know, summer, you know, this season, summer season, because this has a little bit of the matte finish, and this is not as dewy as the liquid concealers that I talked about earlier. So that is why I feel like I'm going to like this more during the summer, you know, humid days. But for winters, I don't think so I'm going to like this. But if you have oily skin and you want a really good flawless type of a concealer that, you know, that looks good under your eyes, I think you're going to really love this. Even I have dry skin and I still like it a lot, but I just feel like for the drier months this is going to be a little too matte. So that is why it's going to be one of my favorite concealers, I think so, during this time of the year. And actually I have this concealer going on my like under eyes today, so I used this concealer today and I really liked it. I didn't have to set it or anything like that, and I really like the coverage that this gives. So that was it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Let me know what concealer that you are loving currently and you have in your makeup collection that really is amazing, and I will definitely try to check them out. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new, you can hit the subscribe button if you like the vibe here. Thank you so much, and I post 3 days a week, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.